morning transfers. Have Manchester United won the race to sign in-demand striker Benjamin Sesko? We'll have the very latest developments for you. Now, Aston Villa have been fairly quiet in the window so far, but it's about to change with a new striker on the verge of joining. We'll tell you who it is. Harvey Elliott's Liverpool future has been uncertain for some time. Is he about to leave Anfield? We'll look at his options. And Sunderland have been making moves as they return to the Premier League. Former defender at the club, Danny Collins, joins us live at 9:30 a.m. A very good morning to you at home, to former Newcastle and Bournemouth midfielder Dan Gosling and to Michael Bridge. Only one place to start, and that is with Benjamin Sesko. It could be a crucial day. We understand that his preference is to join Manchester United over rival bidders Newcastle United. Let's go live to Manchester and speak to our reporter, Daniel Kahn. Right, OK, Daniel, just bring us up to speed. And are we right in saying it looks like he wants to go to Old Trafford?
Yeah, good morning, Tom. I mean, this has turned into one of the sagas of the summer for Benjamin Sesko. I mean, yesterday was a bit of a roller coaster of a day, wasn't it? We know how keen Newcastle United are in terms of trying to sign Sesko, and they upped their bid yesterday to just under £70 million plus add-ons for the Slovenian striker. Then the question was, well, what would Manchester United do in reaction? And it was always somewhat understood that they would only formally enter the race if they had any indication that Sesko's preference was Old Trafford in terms of his preferred destination, and everything indicates that they got that feeling because they then entered the race a bit of under Newcastle's around £65 million plus add-ons. And that is very interesting because that would indicate again that United are pretty comfortable going in less than what Newcastle have, but trusting that Leipzig, if Old Trafford is his preferred destination, that they will follow what Sesko desires. And as we understand it, as you said, that is Manchester United, and a huge boost for United in that sense if they do sign Sesko to add another forward to the line, knowing that Ruben Amorim wants to improve their goal record because it was pretty not impressive last season. But we'll have to wait and see. No agreement club to club just yet, but it does seem, as things are trending, that he could be here at Old Trafford.
Well, Ruben Amorim has repeatedly said that they need to score more goals. Now, if Sesko signs, how far have they gone in addressing that problem?
Yeah, I mean, huge, Tom. If he does sign, United would have signed 3 players in Sesko and Buemo and Mateus Cunha, who scored 48 league goals between them last season. And let's not forget, I talk about their record last season, only 4 teams scored less goals than Manchester United in the Premier League last season. And I spoke to Ruben Amorim on multiple occasions last season, and he spoke about the need of needing to be more clinical in front of goal. And that, you would hope, would be addressed by signing these 3 players to add creativity. And the thing about Sesko as well is he scored 21 goals in all competitions last year, but it was the pure variety of goals he scored, not just say in the box, but he's great in the air, he can score with both feet, and he's also a bit of a facilitator in the box as well. So you think him with the likes of Bruno Fernandes and Buemo and Cunha all around, and plus the likes of Ahmad, could just be a much more threatening force at Old Trafford and away. I mean, many games here at Old Trafford behind me, teams were very happy to settle in a defensive block, not really that bothered to see if United could break them down. With those signings though, and if Sesko signs, you would think United will be a much more potent attack this season. But look, we'll have to wait and see. Sesko isn't over the line just yet, and I would spare a thought for Newcastle in terms of their targets. It seems like another one could be biting the dust while this whole noise around Alexander Isak is going on as well. But look, let's wait and see. Still a lot to go in this saga.
Dan, thank you. Yes, it was good morning to Dan Gosling and to Michael Bridge here in the studio. Dan, we'll start with you. We are getting the impression that Sesko would prefer to go to Manchester United, but can you understand why it would be a very tough decision, a nice decision to have, between Manchester United and Newcastle United?
Yes, obviously two huge clubs. I mean, Newcastle have closed that gap in recent seasons. Champions League football once again. So yeah, the pull of European football Champions League is great, but Manchester United is such a worldwide club, a huge club. They still have that pulling power. It's a really difficult one. Obviously, both paying similar amounts of money. Wages probably similar, give or take. So, yeah, it's really club to club.
Michael, you know all about the inner workings of transfers. With with Manchester United feeling confident, that means they've clearly got some sort of encouragement, because if they're confident that they're going to get him, they must know something that maybe others don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the other side, Newcastle fans probably a bit concerned that it's going on and on and on. Look, Newcastle can only do so much. They've done as much as they can. But again, as Dan said, Manchester United, so much is made about European football. I don't think it matters as much anymore. It's still Manchester United. And amazingly, it's unbelievable. We're not going to see Manchester United in any European competition next season. OK, you're going to miss out on a little bit of finances, but it might do Ruben Amorim a little bit of good for one season, just as a club reset. We know Amorim, he said time after time, he doesn't like joining clubs mid-season. And you could tell, he said it a lot of times in during the season as well. Then you had the Europa League games non-stop, and they end up having a very poor finish in the league, but they still, regardless of no Europe, have this pull. I suppose it's a massive thanks to Sir Alex Ferguson, I think, still, really, isn't it? It's still Manchester United Football Club. Newcastle have done all they can, but it looks like he's heading to Old Trafford.
The transfer window is not closed yet. There's still 3.5 weeks to go. And Alexander Isak, Michael, is still a Newcastle player. What is the latest with this?
And the key we're told constantly, time after time, is if Newcastle don't bring an adequate replacement, a top-class striker, that man is not changing that shirt. He's still going to be a Newcastle player. Look, we know, we've talked about Sesko likely to be picking Manchester United. Isak is back in Newcastle. Newcastle have been away on a pre-season tour. They're just coming back from South Korea. We believe they're back today. He's had treatment on Monday and Tuesday at Newcastle on this thigh issue. Newcastle returning today, but of course, he's had this individual training at his former club, Real Sociedad. I don't know about you. I don't know if that sits with me. I don't know about training at former clubs. Is it normal?
I think, obviously, he must have come through there. He was there for a long time. With Newcastle being away, is there any point of him being in the training ground by himself? Probably not. I think that's going to make more noise. I think it's going to be disheartening for the player. It's probably not going to work correctly. Very, very lonely place, training grounds, when there's no one there. So, yeah, going back there, I don't see a huge issue with it. Yes, there's a minor thigh injury, if you want to call it that, but he's ticking over. And now he's back in Newcastle when the squad have returned from their pre-season tour. I think, look, the player is a really difficult situation. But once the season starts and he's still there, I think he's going to have to play.
So if you had a bit of a groin problem, go on the phone to someone at Bournemouth. I'll get on with you all here. Can I just borrow the room for a few days?
Yeah, look, I have a great relationship down there, so it won't be too bad.
In the situation as a whole, it certainly caught me by surprise. I think it caught a lot of people by surprise when Alexander Isak, when it came out that he did quite fancy a move. What did you make of it? How surprised were you?
I wasn't surprised. There's not many world-class number 9s. That was rumbling on in the background last year, really, about different clubs. But the fee is the fee. I think you see the prices these days.
The fee seems fair, you know. I know it's a lot, but if Newcastle won £150 million, are you going to get better?
No, you're probably
Isak,
not going to get better.
Can't name your price.
But 150 million is a lot of money. I mean, if they did get Sesko and Vissa, for example, get the two of them and still have a bit of money left over, would be great business. But yeah, it doesn't look like the Sesko one's happening. So now it's even more important to keep Alexander Isak.
What about a word on Eddie Howe? Because how many years were you under Eddie Howe? Quite a few.
Yeah, 6.5 years.
6.5. So you know him well, and his man management from the outside is always praised. How hard is this going to be? How does he manage Alexander Isak right now?
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult. I mean, there's a lot of people in Isak's ear for sure. His head has definitely been turned. I mean, Liverpool, massive club. But like I say, I think there's definitely the player will know if Newcastle don't get a replacement, he's not going anywhere. And as soon as the season starts, he's going to have to get his head back in the game. And I'm sure he will. That's just how players are. They want to compete, they want to play. And ultimately, he has to play football. He's got 3 years left of his contract. Newcastle under no real pressure to sell him. I think once the season starts and the window closes, then he'll be fully back invested with Newcastle United.
And knowing Eddie how like you do, can he get that whole squad on the same page regardless of what happens here?
I think it might be a tough start for them. Obviously, the window, there's probably 3-4 Premier League games by the time the window's shut, so it could be a tough start. I know they've got Aston Villa away the first game. Whether he plays, probably not. But they've got enough for the first couple of weeks for sure. But it's just a long season, and if you don't have a proper number 9, then yeah, you're going to struggle.
Right, well, let's move on, because there were developments overnight involving Liverpool's Harvey Elliott. Michael, what can you tell us about this potential move?
Yeah, we're speaking a lot about RB Leipzig, aren't we, over the last few weeks, and they've made contact with Liverpool over a potential move for Harvey Elliott. Now, there are early stages, these talks, but Leipzig see Elliott as a potential replacement for Xavi Simons. We'll potentially be speaking about him later, this interest we understand from Chelsea. But now, this is an interesting one, both of you. We can say that Leipzig have been allowed to speak to Elliott as they look to sell the project to him. So that's something I'm interested to hear. So Liverpool are allowing him to have a chat first while these talks are quite at early stage.